There we go. Okay, everybody, welcome to Success What It Takes. And today's guest is a professional dancer who has performed in the hit musicals Hamilton, Spider-Man, and MOTOWN on Broadway in New York. He has also taken part in popular TV shows like Will and Grace and Orange is the New Black. He has performed at the Grammys, America's Got Talent, the Tony Awards, Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and more. He will be sharing his experience about all this and performing with Jenifer Lopez and LL Cool J. And in the last year, he's added to his resume being instructor at Accent Dance Studios. Please welcome Gerald Avery.
All right. What's up, everybody?
Hi, Gerald.
How's it going?
So happy to have you on my reality show, let's call it like this.
I like that. Why not? Why not?
So I will, since we're running live, I will say to all our students who join that you will be able to ask Gerald questions in the end, but we will start right straight with the question that everyone is interested. What was your first Broadway show out of those three I just mentioned, and how the audition process looked like?
What was my first Broadway show?
Yes.
My very first Broadway show was Spider-Man: Turn Off the Dark.
No.
I'm sure if you've heard about it, it was a wild ride. It was, oh goodness, the audition process. I wasn't even supposed to be auditioning for. I was supposed to be on a flight to Kentucky.
Oh.
And I went in for the audition just because I wanted to essentially I wanted to just take class before I had to catch my flight. And the audition went well. The audition was a 5-day process. And we had to dance, we had to do acro, we had to fly, and we had to sing. And so the very first day it went really well, and they asked me to come back, and I was like, I'm supposed to be on a flight, and said, is there any way you can miss it? And I could move things around, so I was able to change that. But yeah, it was just a long week of 5 days, probably at least 4 to 6 hours every day of intense movement and partnering, lots of dancing, lots of questionings. And then by the end of the week, they narrowed it down to, it started off with, I think it was over 500 people. And then they narrowed it down to on Friday to 30. And then they were going to take the weekend to kind of talk about it. And then they let us know on Monday, the following Monday, that they cast the people that were at the audition. And so we found out on Monday.
That's a really long process. I don't remember myself going through 5 days audition besides my acting university that took actually like 5-7 steps within months and a half. So it was a really long big deal. But
Very long.
yeah, wow. So 5 days, I will assume it should be hundreds and hundreds of people auditioning against you.
Yeah. A lot of the times in those situations, I find it really fun because a lot of them are friends, people that I look up to, and so to me, it's such a great. I've always had such great experiences because it's just a way to connect with people that you don't necessarily get to see every day, that you see in class, like passing, and see them in the halls, because there's a lot of downtime in auditions. And so it was just nice to connect. And then from there, you're getting all this brand new movement from a choreographer that you may not have gotten a chance to work with before, that you've heard of, that you've been wanting to work with, whether you get the job or not. I always thought that the audition process is such a blast, simply because you walk away with something. You always walk away with new information.
That's amazing. So you just, what I will translate for our audience in a few things to understand. What you just said that auditions choreographers choreograph their pieces that is designed not just to their body abilities, but also their preference to unique way they move. So when you're auditioning for these big projects, you all often exposed to something that you never learned or never moved that way, and you will have to be able to pick this up relatively quickly, correct?
Exactly.
Beautiful, yeah. So that's, I really want this to hear for our dancers who are especially just starting this path. So I also want to ask you that what was your we all know that you've been a part of Hamilton and how that New York New York run for you was?
Yeah, the New York one was incredible. I joined. I originally my wife and I we were going to move to LA, probably a few months before I got the show, and I went in for the audition and ended up getting it. And so her and I we were like, you know what, let's do the run of this show and then move across country. But I joined the show a month after it opened on Broadway, and it was incredible. A lot of people in the cast in college, um, I followed their careers ever since I went to college back in Wisconsin. And so to get the show and be able to perform with not only the principals in the show, but the ensemble as well, I looked up to a good like 80-90% of the people in the cast have been following their careers, been looking up to them. I kept I guess you could call it like a dream board, and I would have their headshots on this dream board. It was on my wall because I admired them and I looked up to them, and I wanted to be a part of what they were doing. So the fact that I was able and allowed to do the show with these people that I looked up to for so long, that to me is the most special part of the whole experience. And then being on stage with them was just an absolute knockout. They were professional. The ultimate thing that I gathered from all of that was, even though there are perimeters in the choreography and in the movement and within the show, you really saw individuality. You saw what each person can bring to the stage. And there's times that you can sit out from the show and watch the show, and you really got that feel from the stage of who everybody was, strictly from the way that they moved and the way that they carried themselves and projected out onto the stage. That's probably the biggest lesson that I took from that show.
Beautiful. I want to share with you that my little story about performing at Broadway. It was
Yeah.
in 2014 with the Derek and Julian Huff with the Move Live on tour, and I remember that we performed in the Beacon Theater. That is stage is so tiny. It's that there is usually, they put a backdrop or something, but because it was so tiny, they couldn't put any backdrops or nothing. So they try to use the entire stage all the way to the back wall, and the back wall is the back of the building, literally.
Sure.
So what does it mean? And we had changes that I have a 20 seconds to exit the stage and enter to the other side, and we usually run behind, and 20 seconds I like, just chilly running. This time we had to run downstairs because it's such an old theater, go through the green room, then go through the cafeteria, then run upstairs to get to the another stage. And that 20-second run, and obviously before the show we warned everybody, say, hey guys, there's on the first song, on the fourth, and like some other song, we're gonna be running. No one stand in this narrow walkway and entering this. So that's my fun experience performing on the Broadway. I had like my check mark of my bucket list, performed on Broadway, even though it was once, but with the national tour, which was second popular in the nation after Taylor Swift at that year. So what do you have any story share with us, something that happened with you on the Broadway performances?
Yeah, I love that story. You must have had like fantastic cardio that year. Um, in Hamilton, we actually have the same thing there. In the New York show, there's no cross in the back, so you actually have to go down and underneath. However, they choreographed it in a way where we didn't have to run the way that you did, so we were lucky we could catch our breath and grab a little snack if we wanted to. But I would say that this is probably my favorite story to tell. In Hamilton, I joined, and not long after I joined, I went on. I was swinging the show when I first joined, and so I had to cover 6 tracks. And I started learning one track that I had a set date that I was going to go on for. And I went on for that track, and it went great. And that was on a Sunday. And after I did that, we have our Mondays off. And so I took the Monday off, and then I was going to get ready to learn my second track. And I went in on Tuesday for the show, having just done my very first time of the show on Sunday. And unfortunately, people were missing from the show because of a schedule conflict. And so they said, Gerald, I'm so sorry that we have to do this, but we have to put you on for a track that you don't know yet. And I was like, okay, let's go for it. Why not? And so they put me on for a track that I didn't know yet. And what was really great about it is that I had a dance captain on stage left, a dance captain on stage right, and they had clipboards and they were with me the entire show telling me where to go. And we made it through halfway through second act before the other crew member or the cast member showed up and was able to relieve me from the rest of the show. But that was probably the wildest thing I've ever done on a stage, of just guessing the whole entire show and getting lucky.
Well, that's why you're a professional dancer. They can rely on you. It is,
Yeah.
I would say, what you've done is the most difficult thing for a professional dancer. Our dancers, my students, whether they're young or older, they are have a fear of just performing or just remembering the choreography. And you're talking about not just performing, you don't even know choreography, and you have to just go for it. And obviously, as a professional dancer, we feel that sense of responsibility for those people who paid, especially, crazy expensive tickets being there. They cannot feel that, we had to fill in quickly or someone gets sick. So you have to deliver 120% without any obstacles of you thinking, oh my God, I'm not ready. Like what you will say about that, how you prepare your mind knowing that this kind of obligation you have.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that I think first, it's quite incredible, and kind of what we're going through now is a big testament to this, of what we are able to do when we're just thrown into something. As humans, I just feel like we are absolutely capable to adjust to the situation. And so before the show, them telling me to just, we have to put you on. I know you don't know it. I was very surprised and shocked of how much I was able to either catch on or just fill in the blank in the moment. And so a lot of the times before going on stage, if there's stage fright or overthinking, a lot of the times I would say it becomes a mental thing. As dancers and movers, we're so focused on our body, we forget that our mind is part of the body. And so if we strengthen the mental part of our mind of, I have this, I have my confidence, I know this, I've gone over it, the work has been done in the studio, the work has been done at home, I've gone over my notes, you've done everything that you possibly could have done before you get on stage, where you've exhausted your options, then that's all that you can do. And then really rely on yourself and your self-confidence and who you are, of why you want to participate in the world of dance and movement, to get you through. And 9 times out of 10, it's going to be fantastic. And then that one time will be a learning curve, and that's just as special. I think that I learn more from my mistakes than from success easily. And so it's to learn to not be so hard on yourself and to trust yourself.
Wow, that's a phenomenal answer. When you say about exhausting your options, so it means you put a certain type of training behind it, that
Yeah.
that's the last thing is left to just go and do it. So would you please tell us about your training, when you started, at what age, and how you do it till today's?
Absolutely. I was a late bloomer, so I've started to really get into teaching now. I'm starting to fall in love with it and just kind of share experiences, and to hear what students have to say as well. And I always tell my students who are 18 and younger, that I say, you are way ahead of where I was. I started dancing at 19. So I was late. I was a big sports guy. I played sports in high school and growing up. And then I stopped growing. And so I had to kind of stop playing football and basketball simply because of height and skill. And so then I transferred into dance. And so I always tell students that when they get frustrated, I say, you're way ahead of me and way ahead of the curve. and just to keep at your training. For me, I'm the person that really dives into my work, and so I started dancing at 19, so I had to catch up a lot. I applied for a dance major at the University of Wisconsin Stevens Point, and so I wanted to get a degree in dance. But what that meant is that 30 other classmates that were in my class have been dancing their entire life. And so there were terms and moves and styles of dance that I've never even heard of that I had to catch up on, simply because of my own personal fear of being embarrassed, and wanting to, and as that developed, this love and passion came with it of, oh, this is the way that I express myself. This is my second language. And so there were a lot of late nights. I knew that there was a difference in the way that I trained from other classmates because as soon as rehearsals and classes were done, I was there, and I was one of the only ones in the classroom until late at night. In my college, we have this huge window on our wall, and it outlooks our big walkway between the university and the housing. And on Saturday nights, Friday nights, you would see people going out, going to the parties, going to the bars, and I would be in there dancing, going over whether it was schoolwork or just my own personal styles that I wanted to go over. And I started to be known on campus as the guy in the dance studio because everyone would walk by and they would kind of stop sometimes and watch, but the lights were on and be like, who is this guy? And so people started coming up to me in college like, hey, you're that guy that dances. And I enjoyed that. I liked that. I liked that people were recognizing my work. They would start to come and see the shows because they're like, well, what is this dance thing? You're clearly putting in this time, this effort, and sacrificing certain things to work on this. And so I enjoyed that it brought people into our world, simply out of curiosity. And so to kind of wrap all of that up is just, people always tell me that you sacrifice so much, you sacrifice time. Sometimes I sacrifice holidays, weekends, etc. And to me, the things that I sacrifice, I get so much more from when I just shift my focus from sacrifice to um, to work and passion and rehearsal and going over. Essentially, what it is that I'm working on myself. And when I think that whenever you work on yourself, you have to sacrifice, but you get so much more in return.
Nice. And when you're saying about those late nights, I heard a story that you've been actually sleeping over at the dressing room. What's
Yeah,
that about?
yeah. So in college, there's a lot of early mornings. Not too bad of late nights, but there's a lot of early mornings. Whether it's like 8 a.m. dance class, and you have to get there at 7 to warm up and all of that stuff, and change into your tights. Um, and so I loved being in the studio late. It was just my jam. I liked that the studios were closed, that nobody else was there, that I could just really kind of go into my own world. And so there's just were a couple of nights where that I really felt in the pocket and felt like I just felt comfortable in the studio, that it would get to midnight 30, 1 o'clock, and I was like, hey, listen, I have to be back here in like 5 hours. I might as well just like cuddle up in the studio and just sleep. We had these mats that you could tumble on, and so I would just kind of sleep on the mats in my book bag, get a few hours of sleep, and wake up, and then I'd be right there. So I would save myself some commute.
That shows the level of dedication because some will choose probably after staying late will sleep over and not even show up in the morning session, but you've decided to be there not just on time but early because as a lot of dancers understand us now, you can show up at 8 a.m. rehearsal at 8 a.m. and ready to do all the stuff they require. You need those like minimum 30 minutes of warming up your body now to prevent from injuries first, and second, from being capable to pick up the speed that your warm body can handle.
That's
That is
exactly correct.
that is amazing. Also, speaking about your college, university, I heard you were asked to come back and teach master class there. Is that amazing? How does that feel?
Yeah, that was absolutely fantastic. Yeah, they called me back they awarded me with the Trailblazer Award, which is a huge honor, just kind of leading the way from leaving UWSP, University of Wisconsin Stevens Point, back in 2008. And so with that came a master class of just going back and teaching the students there, which was a full circle moment. I think to this day it was probably easily one of the highlights of my dance career. Of because I was in their shoes, and I feel like there's a part of me that still feels like I was just there yesterday when it's been a while. And so it was nice to what I've learned in teaching is that I always try to say what it is that I wanted to hear, that I didn't necessarily get in my training. So it was nice to share just my experience and my specific point of view on certain aspects that I necessarily didn't always hear growing up and training. So that was a completely wonderful um, community and home experience that I had. It was wonderful.
They say great entrepreneur, the leader, the employer, knows everyone else's position at their job so they can do their job well so he can scale their business. So in the dancing, as you felt as a student, what you expected from teachers, maybe you didn't understand some terminology, so you were able to switch and apply and deliver amazing class. As I seen this on YouTube, the beautiful video of you teaching at your own at the university that you've been part of, and because you felt absolutely what the student need, being the one day. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's a beautiful way. I think it's an honor for everyone if they will be ever to be invited to teach at their university they've graduated.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Would you please tell us what happened when I mean, first of all, I want to congratulate you that you were able to be book again Hamilton for the second time. It's not that easy, and for the run that's supposed to be in Los Angeles starting March 12th in Pantages Theater. I heard the show was canceled like a days before premiere night. How are you feeling and how are you dealing with the setbacks? Actually, this is question was asked by one of our students in the chat as well.
Excellent. Yeah. So that Hamilton has been just everything that you think about the company of Hamilton, the people who run it, producers, anybody, the ushers, the crew members, the stage managers, costume, the set designers, any anybody that I've had interactions with or have talked to that is part of the show has been an absolute delight. Has been uh, there for us all, cast members from any of the tours, any of the companies. Um, I have to just say that they have been the absolute um, most accommodating, um, most just giving attention and heartwarming group of people that I have ever been not only worked for but have been around. And so for them to ask me come back to Hamilton and Los Angeles just added uh, just humbleness in my point of view towards them, just to keep me in their minds and to reach out. I'm forever just thankful for that company. And it was a special group. We rehearsed in New York for 3 weeks before coming back to LA, and they picked people from all different companies, from the New York company, from the San Fran company, from the company that used to be here in LA. It was just a whole hodgepodge of company members from different companies. And so it was unique and it was special and it was powerful. And people always ask me, what company is better? And I always say that it's just different and it's unique and it's special in its own way. And this company really falls into that category. We were all very excited to share what we could have done here in Los Angeles. Um, it was the day before our first preview. We were supposed to have a meeting the night of our last meeting, a show the night of our last meeting, and we found out we were just going to be put on pause. So we're on pause. We have the theater until June of 2021.
Oh, that's a long run.
So they're kind of keeping it open. Everything is, like the rest of the world, everything is flexible and open to change, and we're here to kind of just go along with the ride. That's the only thing that we can do, and staying open and thinking about each other, and we still connect. We talk once a week on our Zoom. The whole company, the creatives, everybody is there. They just check in and they just say, we want to see your faces. We want to see how everybody's doing, make sure that everybody is okay. They update us as much as they can, and that is to me enough. Like that is above and beyond that I could ask for, is to even be to be thought of in that manner. So we're just staying open and seeing what happens.
That's amazing for you, and it speaks a lot about you, not as just as a dancer, but as a person. Because the Hamilton, as I saw previews of it, I didn't have a chance to see it live yet. It's a pretty big cast, and if they thought about you, it means you stand out, not just with dancing. Because I mean, there is a no bad dancer at Hamilton. They're all phenomenal. But there was something special about you and your energy that we adore as a member, as you being part of Accent Dance Studios, that we just people want to be around you. They just want to talk to you. You always recharge everyone around with the positive energy and your positive outlook. I really hope that the lockdown will be not that long, and the virus itself, and you will able to resume your show, and all our viewers will come to Los Angeles and see it. It's like a whole year. I'm sure everybody will put effort to see that remarkable musical. We had a question also in the chat asking what you would recommend young dancers.
Yeah, great question. What I recommend for young dancers, I feel like the generic is to take class, keep up on your training, take care of your bodies, take care of your bodies, take care of your bodies. Drink your water, get your rest. I think that's the generic thing that can't be stressed enough. Teachers keep saying that, dancers keep saying it to each other. My go-to that I can't get enough of is remember who you are. If you don't know who you are yet, and you're still young, and you're still figuring it out, and you're still changing, and you're still evolving, fantastic. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. Keep getting curious about yourself. What do you like? What don't you like? What does dance bring to you? What can you bring to it? We're on our feet a lot. We're dancing. We express with our bodies. Don't forget about the beautiful thing of a pen and a paper, writing it down so that you can visually see who you are and where you can write it down. Maybe take a week, write down, what dance gives to me. Who do I think I am? What do I like? Do I like TikTok videos? Do they speak to me? All of those wonderful things, so that a week later you can forget about it, pick it up, and go, oh, interesting. You can start to then put that into your movement. Then your movement is going to be even more saturated because it's going to be you. It's exactly what I said earlier about how I would go out into the audience and watch my castmates perform in Hamilton. I can see the individuality to serve the greatest purpose of the story. You want to make sure that you are saturated in yourself first, so that your movement can have the highest value of quality, to then give that to the story that is the show that you're performing, and that is the number that you're performing.
Beautiful. Yeah, the following question is asked, what is your number one tip for anyone who wants to be in a Broadway show?
Yeah, great tip. I will say, and I try to express this as much as possible, is that Broadway needs dancers. I think I across a lot of dancers that are just, I don't open my mouth and I don't sing and I sing in the shower and that's the only place that I sing and I say that's okay. Broadway needs dancers. It needs specialty dancers. It needs all different types of dancers. There's so many different shows that are coming and going, where not all of them need singers. And so I try to express as much as I can to say, just get in the room, audition. If anything, you get fantastic material. You see how it's ran, and then you can get information that way, and then you can build from there. Into your training, whether you want to sing or maybe you don't want to, and just kind of keep an eye out for those dancer roles. But I would say that if you are interested in singing, is keep showering, keep singing in the shower. From there, sing in the car with your mom. Sing in front of your parents, sing in front of your brothers, sing in front of your dogs, sing in front of anything as much as possible. You're going to get more and more comfortable with it. You don't have to be an amazing, fantastic, just because if you're already a fantastic dancer, then that will elevate your singing to come up to your dance as well, because you know how to work in a specific area to then apply that same technique to your dance. Keep at it. I know that it's tough. I know that a lot of times it feels unfamiliar, but keep at it. Keep expressing yourself through your movement, because Broadway is storytelling. A lot of it is just, all of it is telling a story. There's a script. How do you go from A to B? And a lot of the times it's not just movements, it's expression. And how can you do that? How can you express with who you are through your body to help serve the story?
Beautifully said. I want to also say that when I was still dreaming about to moving to Los Angeles in Russia, I was already in acting university. I remember I was watching a TV show about Hollywood, and people try to move all over the world and all over America, United States. They try to also move to Los Angeles, and they said now, and that was like even like before I moved, like 10 years before they said this. In order to make it as an artist, they no longer want those three things only, which is, can you sing, can you dance, can you act, which you call expression, which is absolutely acting, right? Whether it's when we say expression, why relate them together? Because if you, I've graduated acting school, if you act at your absolute best, you believe in what you're saying. That's why a lot of actors who are doing this for years going actually mentally crazy, because they believe so much in what they're doing. So, but what was said in the TV show, now audition castings of Hollywood looking or Broadway looking for what else can you do besides sing, dance, and act. So that's why when question is how to become in a Broadway show, singing and dancing is a mandatory thing. And
Yeah.
both of those things, and Gerald is a great example of it, is it's never late to start.
Yeah, absolutely. It's never late. Yeah, it's never late to say. It really is. Like, I can't express that enough. Um, and to add to that, I will say, in that exercise of writing down who you think you are to apply to your movement, what I discovered on my sheet of paper is that I personally, who I think I am, I don't think that I'm the strongest dancer. I don't think I'm the strongest singer. I don't think that I'm the strongest actor. But I did discover that I am a very clear, and I have passion for storytelling. I feel like I can really tell a story and connect my the point of view of a story to a mass audience, to a large crowd. And so how do I use that skill and let it bleed into these other areas that I don't think that is my strongest? And so it's never too late. Keep at those different categories of singing, acting, dancing. Keep at it, because it never ends. The technique of those three things, it never ends. I'm still working on it to this day. And so keep working at it, and it's never too late.
That's absolutely right. If you want to be a competitive, whether competition dancing or competitive in the industry and at the auditions and castings, the director will choose you. That's a still competition. You have to be keep on improving your skills, because as always I always say, there are 16 years olds now who are faster, better, stronger. You need to be keeping up with those. And it's not to put anyone down or elevate anyone, it's just what is separates you from everyone else. Is that what you need to be keep working on? Because how long can you be pulling off just on a good technique or on just a good smile? You have to be doing everything and doing it better and better and better, because especially with you working with Jenifer Lopez and other artists. Like I remember coming back to auditions, and I was actually lucky to audition personally in Jenifer Lopez's house in group of 6 people. So it was a really good experience to meet her that close and be exposed and talk and see how nice person she is. But they, a lot of successful people, period, including singers, they remember faces, and you want them to not just get a good impression on you, they also want to see the improvement next time they see you. Because if they don't choose you this time, it doesn't mean the end of the world. This is very important to understand for dancers who will still try to pursue the dance career. You will need to come back and show yourself better. But if you show, when you weren't chosen, you show your best, they seen your passion and drive, they will look at you with the interest next time and give you a chance to prove yourself. They seen that you did not give up and you came back, and sometimes they will either favorite that over someone maybe dance better next to you. They will see
Yeah,
your dedication.
absolutely.
Yes, so I'm really happy to see that you with me on this. Will you please tell us how was this to work with Jenifer Lopez and other artists? You have any story to share?
Yeah, oh goodness, many stories. I think, I mean, as you know, Jennifer Lopez was just an absolute beast. Like she was just the best. Hard, like easily one of the hardest workers I think I've ever seen in person. Um, that was my first time performing for a large arena, and so that was a dream come true to feel the amount of energy of a stadium uh, being sent back, because I mainly do theater. And so in theater, people come in and they sit down and they have their glass of wine in the playbill and nice and respectful. Clap where you're supposed to clap and laugh where you're supposed to laugh. And so this was my first time where it was just energy towards the stage from the very beginning to the end. And so that was a dream. And with LL Cool J, he was just like the coolest, slickest guy. He was just a consistent, and you could tell he's just been doing it for a long time. The difference between I decided when I first started that I wanted to do a whole bunch of different types of jobs. I wanted to be in theater. I wanted to do TV. I wanted perform for live artists. And the main thing that I really learned quickly is that all of those jobs are very different. They require different things. As for TV, it's so quick and things change last minute, and you have to go with the flow and go with it, and a lot of problem solving for yourself. For artists, the type of jobs that I've done, there's just this like swag, cool, slick, back in the pocket type of energy that you're kind of putting out. And for musical theater, to me, it's really just about the storytelling and the script, and even and that plays along with the movement. I feel like I'm really attacking the script with movement. And so I think it's important to acknowledge those three different things and know that they can add so many lessons to a dancer's box. um, by kind of spreading it out.
Yeah, yeah, wow. And when you talk about television, I want you to tell that it's not like a Broadway show. You went that the night and you perform, or perform a live performance with an artist. Also, you just went and you dance your dances. So when you're filming a television, you have to do probably the dance or the act over and over and
Oh,
over and over.
yeah,
So give us the tips. How do you do that? How do you do that like 20th time same dance and you look like it's your first time? The energy level and
yeah,
the technique and performance, all the aspects.
yeah, yeah. You and I talked about this a while ago. I know you know all about this. Um, to me, it differs per performer, per artist. Some people like to practice in between takes. Some people like to rest to keep it fresh. Me personally, I don't think that I've ever done a television job where we learned a phrase the first day, and then that we did that exact same phrase the day that we shot. It normally completely changes. It completely morphs on a completely different side of wherever I first started off. And so anytime that I do television, I typically am, every time I go into a project, I'm like, I'm going to stay open. For television, I'm just like, I'm going to just stay as open and wide as I possibly can because everything's going to change, everything's going to be different. So for me, I try to stay open and to go with it and to do my part without getting in anybody's way, so that they can just say action, do it, cut, great, and hit all the marks and spots because there's so many other things going on behind the scenes, in front of the scenes that I am just a little tiny part of it. So I want to make sure that my tiny part is as tight as it can be so that it can join the big picture so that it all can come together.
Absolutely. What Gerald you're saying is that when you are even a lead at the TV scene, even let's say you're the only one in the shot, there is the 50 people making that little clip happening at that moment. So you don't want to be that one person that
Yeah.
50 people want to restart. That
Yeah.
feels really terrible. I know.
And it's
I
okay.
had
It is. And that's a learning curve, and that's
that.
all right. But we try to keep it as tight as you can.
Yes, therefore, no matter how many times they ask you to do it, you gotta do it. You don't want to be that
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, coming to the question, we had Elisa asking, big question, she said.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
when will you launch your Zoom classes?
I love that. Yeah, as you know, it's a wild time. So I'm still personally getting settled in, finding my routine. I think if I start my Zoom classes through Accent Studios, it'll be like kind of sporadic when it first starts out. But for right now, I'm still kind of getting settled in, still making sure that my body is moving and doing well. Because at Armin, as you know, when I jump in, I jump all the way in.
Yep.
So I want to make sure that my rentals are okay with. It's a big deal what we're going to do. I want to make sure that my rentals are okay, and then make sure my body's good, and from there, I'm happy to extend out.
I think you and me at Accent and Studios are the people who are the most dripping when they're teaching the class because so much energy putting. Would you tell a
That's
little bit
good.
about your experience like teaching at Accent and Studio, working with the staff, seeing our students and their dedication? What you have to say about it?
Yeah, I really could sum it up in one word, and it's community. It's such a fantastic community to be a part of. And I gathered that the very first day you interviewed me, I came home and I told my wife, and I said that was probably one of the most grounded interviews I think I've ever been on. You just get the sense of family. You have your little ones that were in the office. That to me is just like absolutely, I want to be around that energy. And then the students, I love that everyone is so focused. I feel like that I come there, everyone is there, they know when to work, and then they know when to enjoy themselves and to have fun. And I think that that's something that's gets a little lost in training sometimes. And so it's nice to see students of all ages to grasp that concept of, okay, now I'm working, and now we're laughing and having a good time. It's so important because we can't take it too seriously. But we also need to know when we need to focus and set that intention. To me, always say that that's the first step, and it's I'm realizing and teaching that that's hard for a lot of students. And I think that Accent Studios has a really good way of communicating that and implementing that into their students. And so that's just wonderful to be around. So, and then finally, I'll wrap up with a lot of these students are now close personal friends. I had a wonderful conversation with somebody yesterday, just touching base and seeing how we were doing, and so it's just a community that I am proud and honored to be a part of. When you can step away to do another project from the studio, but then you still have conversations and check-ins with the people from Accent, to me, then a great service has been done on your part to touch anybody who comes in, to let them know that when you leave, we're still going to be a part of your life, and to check in on you and see how you're doing, how your family is doing, and how you're doing. So that means a lot to me.
Absolutely, Gerald. Also, speaking about family, I actually bump into your wife at auditions more than you.
Yeah,
And
we talk about
would you
it.
please tell our audience that she is a dancer and a little bit about your dance family, the literally
Yeah,
family and dance family?
absolutely. Yeah, she's a dancer. She's been dancing way longer than I have. She comes from a whole family of dance. She's been dancing in dance competitions. She's done television shows. She was in a dance company in New York City for years. And she has been at auditions with you as well. She had like this great realization like a few weeks back where she went, of course I married a dancer, because she's just in love with dance. She loves dance. And I thought that was just such a wonderful realization. I love that. I love it. She oozes dance. It comes from her core. It makes up a great portion of who she is. It's one of the reasons why I love her, because I think I get from her the same groundedness and love that I get from dance and dance community. What we all feel, the whole reason why we fell in love with dance, she has that inside of her. So it was really easy to connect with her. Our first date was a salsa class, and so it's just, yeah, that's our dance family. It's a great person to come back to after you have a really bad audition, to say, hey, I really bombed that one, and for her to go like, that's okay, like you'll get the next one. So it's all things dance underneath this roof.
Starting from your type of story, my story, when we are grown up dancing, I also can tell lots of stories when people come to just take adult classes and then end up dating, and then in a older age they're getting married again and stuff. So dance unite people, and I always say that my
Yeah.
best friends are not from not kindergarten, not high school, not I graduated dance college and acting university. My more best friends are from my dance studio.
Yeah.
So it really creates and this sense of community. That's what I'm trying to build with Accent and Studios, and I'm really happy that you had feel that way, because that's really important to us. We wanna be a family studio. We don't like some a normal way of dance studios in Los Angeles, where you come, swipe the card, go to class, and leave. The not a credit card, the sign-in card, right? You swipe sign-in card, you went, you leave, and like no one even know your name. Is that's not what we're trying to do. So let me see. We have a really interesting question right here. Mona asked, if you weren't a dancer, what would you be and why?
Ooh, great question. If I was not a dancer, I love like and I love working on myself. I do grateful journals, meditate. I do all of those things. So I think anything that would be maybe I've been told in class that would be a good life coach. I don't know if that's a thing,
I I
but
believe so.
I would like something maybe like a social worker, something along those lines. I like people and I like connecting to people. I think for me, I just always have gotten so much more back from friends, students, teachers, from people than I feel like I've given out. And so I think that I crave that. And so anything that like deals with people and sharing, I could sign me up.
Beautiful. Okay, we will ask now if someone personally wanna ask question. So you can say just say hi if you please write the chat, and I will request your uh, or let me. I can unmute you all, guys. I just don't know if everybody is wanna be unmuted. Okay, let me unmute you all. If you wanna be muted, you can mute yourself back, but you can say hi to Gerald.
Gerald.
Hello. Hey, how are you?
I miss you.
Yes, you guys do.
Oh, I see them. So while we have people turning on their audios videos, Gerald, what you will give advice to all of our dancers who are on the call and who will be watching this later? What should they do in the being locked down in a house so they can continue on their dance journey?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that most people are already doing it. I think they already know um, what to do. There's so many classes that are online, so many professional classes that uh, we would never be able to take because they'd be in New York or in another country. That you can just now take it online. A lot of them are for free. A lot of them are for donations. Please give what you can give. But I don't want to drown out just how incredibly special that is. That's find the teachers that resonate with you. And then I would also say that this is a great time to kind of figure out who you want to be as a performer, as an artist. Like I said, there's so many things that what we do as an art. There's so many things that it gives to us. I think a question is, what can we now give back? What can we contribute? And that first starts with knowing who you are and the way that you move and the quality of movement that you do, and the way that you can communicate that and transfer that into the community.
Beautiful. Raja, Elisa, Giroux, if you want to ask any question to Gerald, go ahead.
I would like to say something to Gerald. I took a class with you, and you always encouraged me, and I thought he's just saying it because he wants me to continue to make me feel good. But after a while, I started believing you. You were really, really nice, and you've been talking here about you as a professional. And I just wanted to make a comment about you as a person, as a human being. It's really nice. It was nice to be in your class just for that. The encouragement. Another message that I got from you when you said you had to learn a new language when you decided to be a dancer. And it does really take determination and devotion. And you said it's never too late. So that's a nice message for me.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
That's you see.
Thank you for the first comment. That to me, I will take a personal comment over dancing anytime, any day. That is something sent down from my mother. So I will. I thank you very much. I appreciate that, and I'm glad that resonated in that room and bounced off the walls and goes inside of me as well.
Yes.
And then, yeah, I mean, listen. being 19 and going to university and dancing with people who have been dancing there was really tough. And then going out to New York to perform or to audition with people who just graduated from Juilliard, and it was intimidating. And obviously the questions of if, am I good enough and all of those things. Technique will be technique. Technique will always be there. Technique. Always, I will always express that. But individuality is what gets people in the seats. If we know who we are and then can let that resonate through our storytelling of movement, the way that we just move, we're gonna all just be like, oh, interesting. What do you have to say? What do you have to say to me today? Because I had a long day, or I had a rough day, or I've been waiting for this moment, or I bought a ticket to come and see you, or I made a long drive and it's raining outside, and now I'm here and I'm in the seat, and you're on stage, or you're in the middle of a marley floor, and you have a 10-minute, 5-minute dance duet, and you have something to say that could really change my outlook on so many different things. That's such a special quality that we all share when we buy into this community. It's amazing. So no matter what age, no matter what your ability, you have something to say.
I like
there's something you always have something to say. That's what I love about it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Bracha is an author, and she is going to be releasing her book very soon, so that's why she is asking such a deep questions, and we will be in the future talking about her book as soon as it gets released. Elisa, would you ask your question, please?
Oh, Gerald, I was just wondering if you saw the John Krasinski Hamilton Zoom concert. And what
Yes, I did, and hello. It's good to see you. Yes, I did. I just told my wife, I said, I've always been wondering, like, what it would take to get that whole group back together. And it was amazing to see them all together. The first time I've ever saw them all together was they were on, I think I just joined. I joined a month after.
So I can grab something to start my lesson at 10 minutes.
They were all on stage for a couple
No, 10 minutes.
It was maybe my first or second
Cheese
day.
and the
And I
bread.
was out there and I was kind of flipping through the score, the music book. And I remember just looking up and seeing all of them. And to me, they're just titans. Like, they're like larger than life. Like I said, I've been looking up to a majority of them for a good portion of my training. And so to see them all together again on one screen, that's something special. It was really special.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. Jiro, would you have asked any questions?
Oh, yeah, I was thinking, thanks, Gerald, for having coming to the studio to teach, because I obviously would have not met you, and it's the short time that I was there was really fun. I feel badly that I didn't teach you as many classes.
We'll be back.
Yeah. But as far as, you said it's never too late to start. And so, I didn't take dance as a kid either. I started when I was in my 40s. That's when I started dancing. And I love it now, and I don't think I'll ever quit till I'm 100. But there's days that I'm thinking, okay, do I really need to put all this effort? I mean, I'm just going to be dancing for just a show or for a competition that really nobody cares about but me. And so there's days that sometimes I think, do I really need to go crazy out like for you? I mean, this is your living. I mean, I don't do this as a living, I just do it for fun. But what's your advice for someone that is doing it for a hobby, but you still want to do good, but there's some days where you're like, I really need to, you get a little... you get those moments, I guess.
Absolutely. Armin and I were kind of joking before we even hopped on this chat about, he's like, I'm going to ask you a question of, did you ever want to quit? And I said, yeah, I probably wanted to quit once a week, every single week since I was 19. There's what dance dance does is that it causes us to challenge ourselves, um, physically, spiritually, all of it, and that's a lot. And so there's days where our battery is going to run low, where and it is more than okay to take those days to go. All right, I'm going to pause on this just for a second to kind of shut down my engines, refuel, charge back up so that I can get back into it with positivity, with the love, and the reason why we jumped into it in the first place. And then to jump into dance as a hobby or profession. To me, success in dance, and I've really recognized this over the past couple of years, success in dance is such a personal thing. I've realized over the past 2 years that, to me, success in dance and the time that I'm most happy dancing is when I'm dancing over in this space all by myself by the window with the music blaring and just dancing, creating, coming up with different things, trying to tell a story through different movement, figure out different ways to move. That's the way that I started when I was 19, and to do a full circle, to be to go and have a career and a profession, and to be back at this older, and to realize, oh, I'm just connecting to where I was at 19 again, because I got sidetracked and a little lost in the profession, to reconnect with being in a room, putting on the music, and just dancing and creating and figuring out what it is that this body can do, because this body is different than 19, it's different than last week, it's different than a year ago. And so to connect the inside to the outer and to express that, it's something that is like, oh, I can still connect to the 19-year-old because that's inside is never left, even though it's expressing in a different way because of either maturity, age, and all of those things. But what it does is that it saturates it now because of experience. And to me, it's richer. And I love that. I love watching that on people's bodies.
Thanks.
Wow, thank you,
I mean, I'm
Jeru.
not good for dancing, but just sometimes it's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jeru, because you just made Gerald ask a main question of my show, which is success, what it takes. Gerald, that was a perfect explanation. That was actually like a great note to finish, but I still want Parsi to ask you a question as a final question for tonight.
Yes, my question is, I look at you and you look like you are so confident, so self-assured, you could take on the world. And I'm just curious how you overcome, should you ever have them, inhibitions and insecurities.
Yeah, great question, and hello. I have them all the time. It's, for a while there, I would wake up and just have them. Of like, oh, okay, today, like I have to perform today. Can I do this? I've got to get my mind right. And so it's just constant reassurance. And I don't like to use the word work. Whenever you're working on yourself, I don't like to use the word work. It's a privilege to have time to sit still and to remind yourself of the beauty in the world, and that you get to be a part of it, and that you get to contribute to it, and with you contributing to it, you knowing you're going to get so much more back from that. It's the quote of what you put out is what you get back. That's it, man. Like, that's it. It's taking a moment to get still. Breath, my water, my clothes. There's the roof. The electricity's on. There's food over there. I'm so honored and grateful for those are major things. And then to work on myself, that's either through what we do as dancers, that's working on ourselves. And then in that is to remind ourselves, I'm satisfied with what I'm doing. I'm satisfied with what I'm creating because I'm taking the time
At least tables, small furniture, so I can
go
shove the
over
couch.
my work.
And if you
I'm
can
taking time to go over my
unplug that
moves.
and
I'm
take
taking
that there
time
will also
to
help.
write down who it is that I think that
Okay,
I am
I will
to
start
better
late.
service my art form. That is something that we're all a part of, and that's dance. And my favorite quote is of John Mayer. People always ask him, is it scary to get up on stage with Eric Clapton on one side and B.B. King on the other side? And people ask me, is it scary to get up on stage with Lynn and to do a show with Berry Gordy and be up there with J-Lo? And I said, my favorite quote is John Mayer. He says, if you spend enough time in the simulator, you spend enough time working on yourself and working on your craft, which is working on yourself, then you're good to go. Then you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And I love that. That is absolutely true.
Wow. Thank you so much, Gerald. That's such a beautiful answer. We were
I love
so
seeing everybody's faces. It's so delightful.
we are so happy to have you on our show. We will be waiting to get you back on our online schedule. Not sure how long it's gonna last online, but in case it's gonna long, we will all have time for taking more and more classes and enjoying ourselves and perfecting our craft. Because no matter age, no matter time and era, we have to be physically active and be ready to take on the hardship if the life will bring them physically, mentally, health-wise. So thank you for giving us the energy for our spirits to go on with not days. I think it will last for a long time, this conversation, and we will be happy to see you soon in the studio.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much for taking the time and for everybody checking in. I hope you're doing well. And we'll talk soon.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Gerald.
Bye bye.
Bye.